Welcome to episode 20. Today's guests are Asia Dorsey and Karina DesRoses. In this episode, Karina and Asia talk about what's in their medicine bag, plants they've spent time with, their 20-year friendship, and more. 5 years or so ago, I learned about Asia's work through an engineer, artist, and educator named Kendra Kruger, who also started a project in New York City called the Community Sensor Lab, which is a DIY community science space. Shout out to Community Science, and shout out to Kendra, who I haven't seen in a while, who also inspired me through her contribution in the book Black Quantum Futurism Theory and Practice, Volume 2, which I'm sure Asia has some writing in this book also. Definitely recommend you check out the work of Black Quantum Futurism, even if you aren't Black, because they are brilliant. Through Asia, I also learned about and connected with her best friend, Karina. And so over the years, I've been tuning more into their podcast, The Petty Herbalist. More so the last couple of months, I've been like, oh, I've been missing out on this. When you listen to something and then you leave it for a while, and then I came back and I was like, oh my gosh, what have I been doing? I've been a subscriber to Asia's Patreon and participated in several of her offerings, like the Winter Herbal Immersion, which you can learn more about on her website. On Asia's website, Bones, Bugs, and Botany. I want to make sure I got that right. I care about getting the name right. Yes. Bones. I've seen the website, but I have this thing with I want to make sure I say things right. Yeah, Bones, Bugs, and Botany. The Winter Herbal Immersion is described as an immersive experience that incorporates the energy of the season of winter to discover the indigenous meaning and significance of the water element and the use of this element to support our kidney organ system. We will take the ocean of our body into our own hands through the embodied practice of plant apprenticeships and people's medicine-making methodologies that center water and traditional healing rituals that support our wholeness. I've taken this immersion 2 times so far. It is also brilliant with several different teachers, including Karina and Asia. And I recommend it for anyone out there wanting to learn more about the water element, the kidneys, and nourishing foods for the kidneys. I especially encourage all you mermaids, sirens, merfolk, mer creatures, and water spirits out there to check out this gorgeous offering. As a mermaid myself, who has lived in the desert lands of the Southwest for a period of time, especially when I took the course, I was in Arizona and New Mexico. This immersion has been so transformative in helping me understand how to remineralize my body, stay hydrated, and nourish my kidneys and my body with mermaid foods. This is a lifelong course for me to refer back to as a mermaid, and I want everyone who might be interested in it to know about it, because I just think it's so cool the way the body, the kidneys, the ocean, mermaids, the mermaid archetype, and mermaid archetypes from African diaspora, how that's weaved together for healing and embodied liberation. And I'm like, this course is for me. This immersion is for me. And I know there's going to be some other mermaids out there who could benefit from what Asia is sharing, what her team is working on. I feel so passionate because I've never come across anything like this before. It's just the way that how, the information is out there, but it's just the way that it's weaved together in such a creative, powerful, and effective way. And the visuals are amazing. I mean, I could just go on and on. Um, and I just feel really passionate because as someone who is really interested in things that are intangible like dreams and the imagination and um thinking about other dimensions and other worlds and you like all of these things. um and so my spirit and my body really take to offerings that involve learning more about my body, learning how to take care of my body, work with plants, work with herbal medicine. Um, and I feel like many people, there's my stomach grumbling. Hopefully you didn't hear that. Um, like many people, I'm on a journey of embodiment. We hear so much about being embodied, and sometimes people, I don't know, sometimes when I go on social media, sometimes it feels like people are bashing you for not being embodied. And I'm like, well, if we could all be embodied, we would all be embodied. But for like many people, it's hard, it's a journey. There's reasons why embodiment is hard. And so in my mind, I'm like, we're all on a journey of embodiment. And so these people, people who are teaching and guiding around embodiment, I love y'all. I love y'all. And I do a deep exhale. There's like this sense of relief because for some people, they might not know where to start when it comes to embodiment. And on Asia's website it says these immersions, these healing immersions, workshops, writings, and play spaces are to help those seeking embodied earth healing and wisdom. Um and so it definitely, I definitely, I got to throw a little astrology in there. I definitely think of the Pisces Virgo axis, of Pisces being really connected to the out there. Um, and Virgo being that the earth, the earthiness that really um, grounds and anchors and materializes all of that Piscean information, all of that sort of cosmic information. But also the thing though, with Asia, and I'm specifically talking about Asia like this because Asia was the first person I met. And then I've been getting to know Karina and I love their friendship. Um, is how like I think many times I've gotten a message is that, receiving information comes from like above. So it's always like this direction of like above you and you're bringing it down. But in being exposed to the teachings of bones, bugs, and botany, and the brilliance of Asia. I know I keep saying brilliance. I'm just gonna say brilliant. Brilliance. Because I don't know what other word to use. Is that it's bi-directional. That there's this being connected to the earth is just as cosmic, if that makes sense. um, that all of that kind of cosmic esoteric information that comes from above or somewhere else, really like it very abstract. There's also this really earthy information. It's coming from the earth, from the soil, the microorganisms, the microbial world, the plants. Um, so, for people who identify with the word channel, they like that word channel. I know some people don't like the word channel. You know, there's channeling from the earth. That could be said a different way, simply that you're connected with the earth. You're listening to the earth. You're in conversation with the earth. You're in relationship. At one point, Asia talks about falling in love with the earth. Um, so I really went off track there, but yeah, just thinking about how, you know, it's I feel like I'm naturally drawn to like how Virgo materializes, Piscean information. Um, but I also think, clarity and being able to connect and relate is also in direct relationship with that Virgo energy of being connected to the earth and to plants. It's a two-way street. Well, I hope what I said made sense. Maybe what I said could be said in another way or understood another way. That part um wasn't a part of my script there. Okay, so I paused because I'm hearing something in the background. I'm sorry about that. See, what I would do is I would stop this and start all over again because I don't want any background noises. But now I'm gonna keep going because hashtag real life. Um, Outside of the Winter Herbal Immersion, the Petty Herbalist podcast covers so many topics. Like right now, I'm listening to the episodes on sacred sugars and sex as medicine. Um, Asia and the Bones, Bugs, and Botany team are working on a course on soul food, which sounds very intriguing. Um, and so, yeah, it's just there's a lot to explore and learn with these two people, Asia and Karina. And shout out to you, Karina, for that California poppy tincture. I'm like, yo, I found my California poppy dealer. I'm serious though. Um, so here are their bios. Karina DesRoses is a Black American with heritage in Afro and indigenous roots in Guatemala and Dominican Republic. She is rooted in the wise woman traditions of so many women healers of the past. Her herbalism practices are based in plants native to Los Angeles, California, the Caribbean, and Central America. Both of her great-grandmothers in Guatemala and the Dominican Republic were medicine women. Karina aspires to become an OBGYN physician or Chinese medicine practitioner. She also has a business administration degree and some pre-med courses in her pocket. Karina is a home barista, a home petty pastry chef, and a kitchen curandera. Asia Dorsey was raised by a collective of radical aunties, uncles, and her grandmother, Betty Jo, in the historic Five Points community in Denver, the ancestral home of the Ute, Cheyenne, and Arapaho peoples. Infused with the jazz of the Harlem of the West, Infused with the jazz of the Harlem of the West, Asia has developed new frontiers of healing and earth-based relationship, not through the erasure of the past and its peoples, but the melodious recombination, reintegration, and regeneration of ancestral wisdoms. Some reflections from this episode. You know what my reflection is? There are so many amazing offerings in the world. It's gorgeous to witness and be a part of some of these offerings. The times I've slowed down and allocated time to tap into what people are sharing has really been heart opening for me, because I realize how much I'm missing out on when I'm too busy, too consumed with social media, or too hyper focused on my own projects to engage with what someone else is doing. This is just me, my personal life. That's what I'm sharing. Not talking about anyone else, I'm talking about myself. When I do stop to take time to listen and be present with a podcast episode, savor somebody's writing, listen to music, or deepen my studies, like with the winter herbal immersion, life really opens up to me, and it's really exciting. Whenever you get a chance, I encourage you to carve out some time to listen to the Petty Herbalist podcast. Check out some courses offered by Bones, Bugs, and Botany. And yeah, just check out these two people as people. This episode is all three of us wading into the water. By the end, there's questions we couldn't get to, and so we leave you all, dear listeners, right before we dive into the ocean's depths. A part 2 is in the works, and I'm so excited for y'all to hear part 2. Stay tuned. You do not want to miss it. Thanks so much to all you listeners out there for meeting us at the Through Line. I hope you enjoy episode 20 with Asia Dorsey and Karina DesRoses. All right, listeners, if you can / want to, please take your time listening to this episode. Make a cup of tea at home, find a cozy cafe, or listen on the go. Either way, I hope you find at least one thing in this episode that is interesting, sparks your curiosity, is helpful, or inspiring in some way. Until next time. Welcome to the podcast, Asia and Karina. I'm so excited to speak to you today. Like I always ask, how are you both?
Oh, thank you so much, Simone. What an honor it is to be on this podcast. Thank you for reaching out to us and bringing us back from the the grave, as Asia says.
Yes, this is our resurrection, Simone.
Hey,
Happy Easter to us.
Okay.
happy Easter.
Somebody bring out the ham and the eggs, baby.
Period.
Um, so yeah, it's so nice to be here with you, my beloved student and partner and all of the things, and my wife for life, Karina. It's so good to be here this evening.
Yes, and you asked how we're doing. Let's see how I'm doing right now. I'm doing great. I'm reestablishing my routines after traveling for a while. It feels better. I got my rock climbing gym membership back. Ooh. So I'm back at the gym, y'all. Shout out to a real one, aka me. I did a yoga class at 6:15 this morning. It was a lot, but I did it. I did what I had to do, feel good, and yeah, I'm feeling a lot more rested. I'm feeling more spiritually grounded in my home as I'm cleaning. Um, and Yeah, I'm feeling really good, y'all. Yeah, that's my check-in.
That's great. I'm so glad to hear that.
Mm. And yeah, I am done waiting to exhale.
Period.
Returning from yoga. And it's been a day full of commitments and meeting those commitments powerfully. And so, yeah, I'm here. I'm grounded. I'm flexible. And I'm really excited and curious about what we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's how I am. That's how I'm arriving.
I love that. Thank you both for being here, for sharing, and for the work that you both do. Like, I'm serious. I was gonna say an
Oh,
intro. I need everybody to stop what you're doing.
go
Stop what
ahead,
you're
do
doing and check out their work. I'm gonna say that in the intro.
it.
But I'm so glad to hear that how you both are doing. I heard the word grounded from each of you, so that's really nice to hear. So the first question I wanted to ask, if I'm correct, when I say y'all have been friends for like over 18 years, 18, 20 years. Is that true?
Yeah,
Y'all been friends for a long time.
this year in probably next month is gonna be our 20-year anniversary of friendship. Shout out to us. Yeah, Asia said I have to do some sort of celebration, so I'm still praying about it.
Happy 20th anniversary of friendship. That's
Oh,
dope.
thank
Yeah.
you. Yes, it's a blessing. Not a lot of people can say that they've had friendships for this long because growing together through a multitude of seasons is difficult. Um, I think one thing that Asia and I have learned is that we're always changing and we always have to be in deep curiosity in each other's changing and movements and whatnot. And I think that's what keeps our relationship strong. So yeah, shout out to us. I'm so grateful for Asia dealing with me for this long and also dealing with the fact that like we have a long distance friendship. Like it's not easy to do so as well. So shout out to us.
Yeah, shout out to y'all. Um, I know you want to say anything, Asia.
No, I think Karina covered a lot of it. And Karina said putting up with me, and I'm just like
She does be dealing with me. I deal with her too, but
I'm just like, Karina's my handler, okay? Like, I think Karina's like the only person in the world that can rein me in. She is my earth.
mm,
Without her, I am just floating all over the place. So yeah, and I worship the earth. So,
mm,
and I want to also name that, like, you know, the experience of like growing together and not growing apart, it just feels miraculous.
mhm,
And the ability for two people to maintain their individuality and their we-ness at the same time. Again, this is miraculous.
mm,
Karina is the model through which I approach all relationships in my life. If it doesn't feel as good as it does with her, then it's a no-go. And so the bar is really high. The bar is
All
really
right
high.
now.
Okay? But she sets the bar, period. So, um, so yeah, happy 20 years, sweet sis.
oh, we're too cute. Oh.
I had no idea that the word miracle or miraculous would come up. I was just talking to my grandma literally like 10 minutes before we started. Um, like in November, I interviewed her about her thoughts on like miracles. So I don't know, I just love like describing a friendship as miraculous because I'm sure a lot of people can relate, like being in any kind of relationship, like a loving relationship. It, you're growing together. And what
Mhm.
does that mean? What does that feel like through the whole journey of life? And life, woo,
Mhm.
life is, life's. Um, well, where did you both meet?
Yeah, so we met in high school. Shout out to Thomas Jefferson High School in Denver, Colorado. Woo
Woo woo.
woo. We met in yeah, ninth grade in
Bio.
yeah, in Mr. Roy's bio. Um, okay, I'll let you tell it. I'm usually the one who tells it, but I'll let Asia. And I might correct, I might not. We'll see. Go ahead.
So, freshman year at Thomas Jefferson High School, I'm so excited for the rest of my life. I enter into honors biology. Yes, that's right. Honors biology. And there is this man, and he's not very charming, but I will get an A, so it's okay. And then I scan the room for the Negroes. I scan the room for the Negroes. And I see these two girls and they look cool. And I'm like, all right. But then, as the semester ticked on, these two girls were disrupting class. Okay. They were falling out of their seats. Okay. They're
That
doing
was
all
Calais, not
the
me.
like literally falling out of their seats. And I'm just like, I'm just trying to get my A. Like, I'm just trying to learn here. Okay. I'm just trying to learn. So I developed an impression of these two these two ladies that was not eased until sophomore year.
No, it was freshman year, Asia.
Was it freshman year?
It was.
Okay, what happened?
So, yes, Asia was bothered by us, but she was still very nice. Like super kind. She's the type of person who would she would go to every game, club, performance, you name it. Asia was there. And she was also very weird and wore random ass colors and patterns and different earrings. Um, and she had lesbian Tuesday. She was just very strange but intriguing. And so one day, I was hanging out with them because Asia or Calais was hanging out with Asia and her people, and so I decided to also hang. And we were walking to Burger King after some event. Burger King is not too far from our high school, and we started talking about politics. And it was very interesting. I was like, okay, I like this. And so at that point, Asia realized that I was smart or something. And, she decided that she could actually hang out with me and Kelly. So, yeah, it went from her thinking that we're ghetto and raggedy to, oh, we're smart. We're good enough to hang out with her. So she kind of changed her tune after that, and she allowed our influence in her life, and so she started wearing matching patterns, matching earrings, and yeah, we changed her life. We transformed her life. We made her or we gave her the opportunity to see what true friendship is, because Calais and I had been best friends in middle school. And so Asia
Wow.
entering into what it looks like to have like your girls and to work through things. Because we had a blow up at a store and
Listen,
I told Asia, you can't just walk away.
listen, Karina, because I'm an only child, okay? And I was on some Cartman, screw you guys, I'm going home type shit. And, Karina really uh, I had a lot of adverse childhood experience. My ACE score was quite high. And so my way of being, was very um, very brittle, like very all or nothing, like very like self-righteous, like very um perfectionist, very, very like perfect on the outside. Everything has to be perfect. It has to be this kind of way in order to overcompensate for the internal disorganization of my household and my own deep, deep, deep insecurities. And so, yeah, I remember we're at King Supers and we were supposed to be prepping for a Spanish assignment or something like that. And, I'm really frail. I'm really brittle in my way of being. And I was like, and things weren't going to plan. And I was like, I'm done. I'm out. I can't do this. I'm gone. Like, I'm going home. I'm going to do it by myself. And Karina, I was walking around and Karina was like, you know, you can't just walk away. Like, you have to communicate. Like, you have to tell me what's going on. And I had never really been called into that kind of vulnerability before, that kind of accountability and that kind of opportunity to be valued enough to have things worked out. I didn't have the imagination that you work things out. I just knew the pattern of running away. And so over time, my external presentation did shift because it was very performative in a lot of ways. It was very you know, it was just a lot. And it actually hid my internal complexity, right? But over time, I just like Karina, like in Calais, they just like worked all of my my rough edges. And I really really fell in love with the way with Karina's heart and particularly like her ministry and her proximity to God. And I started following her to every like all the church things. We go to Young Life, we go to Cheese Night, we go to Young Life Camp, we go to
We
church.
went to church, yeah.
But I could really like Karina was a person that I could trust because of her morals and her kindness and the way that she approached all people with this uprightness, and the fact that Karina, unlike me in some ways, but Karina is the kind of person who, like Jesus, goes to where the people are and delivers the medicine that's needed. And so that humility is something that I didn't have. It took me a long time to dissolve my hubris, right? Until I allow it to become the kind of humility that Karina really demonstrated. And also, she was quite savvy. Like, though we aligned politically, like, Karina was
Oh
all
man.
about business. And I thought that was super cool. So yeah, like I just found again, like I found the ground in this relationship.
Oh.
I'm like, I have no words. No words because first, I just love being immersed in your teenage memories, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I think of childhood often, not really teenage years, but wow, what a memory. I just felt like we really dove into that memory. Um and yeah, I think as you said something about like I think why this sticks out to me is because you were saying you were always running away and that Karina was asking you to like communicate and not do that. And I felt like right before I got on here also, I had like practice repair with a family member.
Ah.
So I
Mm.
don't know, like I don't know, I thought of that when you shared that, but what that must have been like as a teenager, you know, cuz
Mm.
in our
Mm.
teenage years, you know, all sorts of stuff can be going on. But thank you for sharing that because I feel in what you both have shared, like how you both know each other's what it sounds like so deeply and that's 20 years of getting to know
Yeah.
someone and going through all these life changes. Like I look forward to actually listening back to this and
Oh.
probably hearing stuff that I missed. Yeah, like there needs to be a movie. I don't know, something. Y'all
I'm
could write a book,
saying we could. Our life could be a movie. There'd be plenty
something.
to
Cause
discuss and to
cause it's
show.
like what'd you say?
I said there would be plenty to discuss, to show, to play up. Um, yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot here.
Yeah. You know, I don't know. I'm really into I said this on another episode that I'm really into friendship movies. Those are like my go-to movies.
Yes.
Love a good friend group, you know?
Mhm.
Um, so I'm gonna ask my second question. You both are badass herbalists, and we were talking before that you're gonna start recording new episodes for the Petty Herbalist podcast.
Woo, woo, woo.
Which it sounds like Karina, you started the podcast or you both started the podcast
We both started the
at the
podcast.
same time.
Yeah, so um 2021 was the year. And as a new herbalist, I was wanting to express myself in a way that felt good for me. And so um I we came up with a name first because I was like, I need a name. I need like a something. Asia has bones,
Daughters
bugs,
of
and
the
botany.
Empire.
Well, no, that was our old podcast.
Oh.
But I wanted like a brand for myself. And so we were just going through some of the things because I mean I have like a silly brand for myself. It's called Karina. And so I was like, I just want something like you have bone bugs and botany, like I want something. And then so it's just like, oh my gosh, petty herbalist. And I was like, period. And so I got the domain on all the platforms. And then so I had a podcast. Oh, it sounds like I'm breaking up. Oh,
You can do a
is it
hashtag.
better?
Hey everyone, this is Simone. As you can hear, Karina is having some mic issues. Just to give you a little behind the scenes, that was my fault because usually before I press record with guests, I like going through a checklist to make sure, you know, we're all prepared for the interview. And Karina's mic sounded like it was working well in the beginning, but I must have missed something. So I'm sorry about that, but very thankful for Asia stepping in and being like, hey, let's check your mic. And once Karina did that, we were good to go. So let's continue with the episode. Enjoy. So you were just about to start talking about the Petty Herbalist podcast. But
Oh, how we started.
yes.
Uh-huh.
And I have an additional question, but go ahead.
Sure. Well, yeah. I mean, do you want to add on your additional question?
Well, let me start over and ask it how I was going to ask it. Okay.
Sure.
So I'm going to start over, but So you both are badass herbalists, like I said before, and started the Petty Herbalist podcast. So before I ask you about that, I love to ask the question. I think it's usually Karina. You start off with each episode and you ask, "What is in your medicine bag?" And
Uh-huh.
that's what I'd like to ask you both.
Ooh, okay. Love that. Um, okay. So what's in my medicine bag, I will affirm a lot of conversations that Asia and I have been having over the break of the podcast. My medicine has been spirituality. Um, you know, I don't really watch movies, I don't really watch shows, but what I do is I be listening to all these like spiritual podcasts. I listen to lives on TikTok where people are like discussing spirituality. Um, I be, doing my spiritual things. Um, I just took a really bomb ass spiritual bath the other day with gathering plants that I found around my hood because I really needed some grounding. Um and I went to an IFA service on Sunday, which was amazing, learning a lot more about Odus and um ancestors and their role in our spiritual practices. And they had this soap that is supposed to help you like wash off things from the past. So I got some, and yeah, you know, yeah, I mean, herbalism is spiritual to me as well, like walking through my hood. I posted the other day, I ran across some grapes in my hood, just like literally like hanging on a chain link fence right behind a parking lot, like in an alley. And I'm just like, yo, this is so cool. It's my favorite thing to find plants, edible plants just like here for us. And it was just really magical, and the grapes were super tasty. So yeah, in my medicine bag, I would say my spiritual practices, and the earth, plants. Yeah, that's what I got.
Mm. Yes, I'm imagining you out there gathering all the there's so many plants in California.
Yeah,
I'm imagining you grasping the chamomile and the passiflora,
true.
and so many more. So yeah, it's a beautiful image that I have in my head of your medicine bag.
Oh, TY.
In my medicine bag are motherless milks.
Oh, do tell.
Motherless milks?
Yeah. Okay, so y'all know I'm so petty about nut water and plant
Exactly.
milks and
Plant juice,
plant juice.
nut juice.
Exactly. Just so mad. And Justin Robinson, my favorite ethnobotanist, uh, put me on. We just started getting into tiger nuts, which are
Mhm.
native to West Africa, and moved to Spain from Egypt. And the Spaniards took them to the uh, the New World where they became horchata. The tiger nuts were replaced with rice. But in tracing that drink horchata, I've just been so obsessed with it. I've been obsessed with all the horchata, Salvadorian horchata, which got me into a real kerfuffle. Um, but just like going deeper and deeper, I finally got some tiger nuts.
Yay.
And I soaked them and was sprouting them. And I actually bought a fancy nut milk maker, which I'm returning because I imagined that I would go into a nut milk business and I started dreaming up a brand. Um,
Wow.
I know, but now I'm just obsessed with the nut milks. I just, today I had uh, the base was red clover, and I used an ounce of soaked pistachios and 2 pods of cardamom and some rose water. Uh,
Sounds
pinch of
luscious.
salt. Okay, I made and I used some apricots as the sweetener, and I just blended it all up in the Vitamix, and I made the milk, and so yeah, I'm just really sitting with like the pleasure of playing with nuts. It's nuts.
I have some things to say about that, but
That's
Yeah.
the word I was looking for. Pleasure. Yeah.
Okay, because clearly,
that's what I was gonna
clearly, I am overcompensating for the milk that I wish I had. Okay. Okay, I'll stop. I'll
say.
stop.
That's what I was like. I was gonna save that for off air.
But yeah, so I'm just sitting with yeah, just creating so many bevies. I hope that Karina will partner with me in this endeavor because she knows that I'm so extra. But you'd be happy to know I only use 2 cardamom pods and not 4.
Wow, I'm proud of
I
you.
thank you.
I'm glad that you didn't throw matcha in there. I was afraid since you have a cornucopia of matcha now.
Oh, I know. So I've been doing a matcha ritual every morning.
Okay.
I bought a matcha bowl from the Black Arts Festival.
Yay.
And yeah, and I'm doing it traditionally. I'm not adding anything to it. Like I'm really kind of honoring the tradition. And Karina ordered me, shout out to Spirit Tea,
Shout
um,
out.
both culinary grade matcha as well as ceremonial grade matcha. And I'm just really respecting it. And I want to see what having this ritual in my life is going to create. So, no, I'm not being creative. I'm literally like tasting the different ones. All the bags are in the freezer. Like, I have been watching all the documentaries on matcha families in Japan, and um so yeah, I'm in my beverage bag, honey.
Yay.
Beverages.
That sounds so good.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had matcha a lot. Maybe just once or twice. What am I missing out on?
Um
Um I would say that you're not missing out on a lot because most of these places have raggedy ass matcha.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
would prevent you. I would want to shield you from experiencing the foolery of what they be having at these cafes. However, if you find a good cafe where they honor the tea, they tell you about the family, they tell you about the notes, that they make sure that the water isn't too hot. I feel like you'll know if it's time to taste matcha or not. Um, yeah, but you don't go out and seek it. Apparently, right now, because it's become a trend, there's a matcha shortage in the world. So yeah,
Wow.
I would say just be gentle. And if you want to buy some, I know where to get it from. Let me know. Hit me up. I'll send you some
I
matcha the way
sure
that I sent
will.
Asia some
I sure
because I
will. I
got
will
the
hit.
plug.
Look, I trust y'all.
Yeah.
Hmm. I trust y'all. Y'all are like the go-to.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
go-to. I'm serious. Um, so I was listening to one of the podcast episodes, and kind of getting a
Mhm.
sense of how you both grew up, because you both would say things during a podcast episode where I learned like, okay, so you grew up this way, you grew up this way. So I'm
Uh-huh.
just curious, like, how were the ways you both were raised influenced who you are today and how you approach herbalism?
Mm.
Hmm. Interesting.
Mm. So,
Oh, go ahead, Asia.
yeah. Okay. Um, I love that matcha is sacred. I love that as an adult, I get to access the sacred. As a child, I accessed the Kool-Aid packages for 10 cents from the corner store.
Mhm.
And growing up, my responsibility, the only responsibility, because I was relieved from all reproductive labor, including cleaning my own room or anything like that. But I was the runner. I got the groceries. That was my task. And my grandmother was so specific about the quality of the food that I bought home. I remember one time I bought skim milk, and my grandma, she ain't waste nothing, right? Like, period. Um, but she poured that milk down the drain in my face and said that if you can see through it, it is not milk.
Mm.
Never bring this to the house again, right? And so growing up, my work, my job, my task was honestly to play. It was
Mm.
to be outside in the dirt. And I lived my life like that. I still live my life like that. My nail technicians laugh at me and how dirty my nails are. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm an herbalist. Why would I have clean nails? It makes no sense. I touch the dirt all the time. And so, I also grew up sort of surrounded by women, and gay men. And so I actually had the experience that so many queer folks, so many sort of non-conforming people are trying to create. Like I was raised by a collective of women and gay men who really kind of instilled this feminism in me that is not performative. It just is, right? It's beyond study, it's beyond theory. It just is what I emanate and create. And so the combination of that like wild freedom as a child with kind of the nurturance, and the power of women, combined to have me practice an herbalism that uplifts feminist sort of philosophies and theory and all of its ways, as well as an herbalism that is rooted and grounded in direct relationship with the plants, just like the relationships that I had growing up. And so my herbal practice, as a bioregional root worker, is very much a byproduct of that upbringing. And as an adult, I'm learning the other things that I wasn't taught. And Karina's one of my one of my idols. It's like, oh, there's this microbiology of housekeeping that's fascinating to me now that yeah, that Karina has introduced via various trips and mishaps, I will say. But yeah, so my herbal practice is very much hands-on. It's getting messy. It's like in the dirt, and it has this kind of wild, carefree nature, but it's also deeply rooted in women's work.
Mm. Beautiful. I love.
I'm just taking all that in.
Yeah, and also I just want to mention because maybe a lot of people didn't see it, didn't hear it, didn't get to experience it. But the way that Asia tied the matcha conversation to this conversation was everything. Ooh, I love a transition. Ooh. Amen. Amen. And speaking of amen, I grew up in a home of pretty staunch Pentecostals. My parents actually met at church, at my grandpa's church, because my grandpa was a pastor. And so, yeah, I grew up uh knowing, or just, yeah, knowing spirit, knowing God kind of thing. I remember learning at church that, you have to accept Jesus or God in your heart, um and so you can follow him and you can go to heaven, like all this stuff. And so I was like, okay, I know who God is. Like, God is really present in my life. Like, I just know this energy. um and God always has always manifested as a Black man to me, um which has been beautiful. Like, literally anytime I need help in the world, like, a Black man shows up and helps me, and I'm like, amen, thank you, Lord. Yeah, so, yeah, grew up with parents that were from Latin America. My dad is from Dominican Republic. My mom is from Guatemala. However, they grew up in LA, like in their adolescence. And so it was this combination of, we're from somewhere else, but we're also American. And so I didn't grow up speaking Spanish. My parents, like, okay, I'm not gonna shade them, but anyways, we did not learn, but it's fine. But I did learn to understand Spanish, and so that was a good skill to have. And also I grew up in I grew up a Black girl, like, even though I knew that my parents were from Latin America, like, the Latina identity didn't really suit me because I didn't speak Spanish, nor was I Mexican. And so in Denver, Colorado, growing up, in the late 90s, early 2000s, like, you kind of had those two options. And so, yeah, I grew up with this Black identity, but having, like, more mixed identity at home kind of thing. And I don't know, I just learned how to navigate different worlds. Code switching, like, I've always been code switching my whole life. Like, I ain't new to this, I'm true to this. And I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing, because you are different. You are a different person in every situation. In every friendship, you're a different person. In every country, in every language, you're a different person. So in me, I'm learning. I am almost fluent in Spanish, and I'm working on Portuguese right now. And yeah, Karina is
Hey.
different in Portuguese than in Spanish, and in the different iterations of Spanish. So for me, like, I've just always grown up being a very adaptive person. So um as that relates to my herbalism, I think that I'm really fascinated by weeds, the strongest medicine, because they can just pop up anywhere and everywhere. And they show up, um yeah, with exactly the medicine that's needed for the person, for the environment, for the community, that they show up for. And also, learning botanical names is really important for me, because I travel a lot, because, navigating multiple languages, it's super important to know the botanical names, because it's easier to translate what this is to what similar, or plants who are in the same family are in Brazil, are in Dominican Republic, are in Mexico, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's a little snippet, I would say. of how I grew up and how it relates to the herbalist I am today.
Yeah,
I would
it's
add
so
some things.
Oh,
oh yeah,
go
go ahead.
ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
Please do.
I mean, I think also like the infusion of sort of the way that you talk about the context of food and herbal medicine within the framework of spirituality.
Mm,
Like, I don't think that your current path is particularly different from growing up Pentecostal or with your grandfather being like a pastor.
mm,
And the way that like you analyze contemplate through the lens of food and the way that I've been learning about it through sort of its engagement with food and culture, I think that that's also a part of your story.
Thank you for adding that back in.
Hmm.
I didn't get to get there. Yes. Thank you.
You know what's interesting with what each of you shared, Asia, I think it's really interesting to like grow up in that environment that you described, where like you were collectively raised and tended to. I think
Mm,
that's really beautiful. And I honestly, you're probably the only person I've heard that from. That's kind of sad, but like I'm glad that
mm,
I've met someone who's raised like that. Because I do read a lot about like imagine what it would be like to be like you be raised by all these different people and I don't want to romanticize it anyway because you know families have their ups and downs, but I just think like I feel like you carry such a powerful grounded charge that I wonder if it comes from being raised in that raised like that. Um and very like very sure, you know, I don't know if it comes from that also. um and then Karina, I really love how you describe like your adaptability and like being able to move through like spaces and worlds and I don't want to get too much into astrology, but I was reading,
go ahead.
oh, I was reading an essay by this astrologer named Jeff. I gotta remember his last name. Jeff Hawkins, I think. And I don't know his pronouns, but Jeff wrote this essay about Gemini being this Gemini ruled by Mercury, and you know, Mercury being able to just go between worlds and what Mercury is able to do
Mm,
as like this shapeshifter and this planet that's able to speak multiple languages and I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link because it helped me understand myself a lot.
mm,
So anyway, I just thought I'd ask that question because I love how how you are by yourselves, and then there's this merging that happens that I get to enjoy during the you know the Petty Herbalist After Dark. Um, and all the other offerings that I've been in. But also I wanted to ask that because I wanted to get to know you both, you know, um, just like hear more about you as people.
mm,
Cause I don't know, I think you both are really interesting. I mean, what's the chances of like, I don't know, the miracle that
mm.
you're that Asia was talking about earlier. Um, so can you share a story about spending time with a plant in person and what that was like? I'm curious because this is going to come to another plant question, but I wanted to
Uh-oh.
ask this one first.
um, mm. And before I share, just there's a little tear because I'm so touched by your like your way of being, Simone. And
Yeah.
yeah, I could
I'm
just tell.
feeling it.
Yeah, like
It
I'm
feels
just
good.
it
It's
does. Thank
warm.
it's
Uh, wow,
Oh,
Simone, you're such a good interviewer too. I'm just
oh,
like
Mhm.
thank
sitting
you.
in your brilliance right now.
Mhm.
Oh, thank you. I'm sitting in y'all's brilliance.
Yes, so I
I'm
just
blessed
yeah.
by y'all.
So I'm just
Amen.
surfacing like you're doing such a beautiful job and I'm really touched.
Thank you.
Um, mm, So I can share a plant story. Um, so I was taught that yarrow was Madam Yarrow.
Mm.
But after I had spent some time with yarrow, Arcalia millefolium, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
Named after Achilles. And, um, I was told that yarrow by my friend Sarah Chevelle, I was told that yarrow heals our relationship to men.
Mm.
And I said, does it now? Does it? So I started researching yarrow and learned that yarrow was used in I Ching and other divination tools. And so I decided to craft medicine with yarrow and move into relationship with yarrow. And I sat with yarrow. This is when I lived near Sloan's Lake in Denver. And in the journey with yarrow, I was invited kind of to this place, to this landing where I met yarrow as Achilles
Mm.
and began a love affair with
Mm.
this plant. And yeah, yarrow stops the bleeding. It stops internal bleeding and external bleeding. There's some caveats to that because yarrow's nature is both cooling and warming. It's amphoteric. Um, but yeah, like I never like knew about sort of a relationship to plants or a relationship to the earth that was erotic.
Mm.
I did not know that you could develop sort of these kinds of amorous feelings for a plant, and I can't to this day use yarrow without thinking about my foray with Achilles. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, all that is to say, I wanted to share that story because it really kind of expands our imagination of what it's like to be in love with the earth.
Mm.
And that you could actually fall in love and have a whole ass relationship with the plant.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, shout out to yarrow. The white yarrow is the one we use for medicine. Broad spectrum antibacterial,
Woo woo.
lover of the mouth, and yeah, just an all around amazing plant.
Well, you was in the middle of saying that. I wanted to say, do tell, say more.
That maybe that's for petty herbalists after dark.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The kids are watching.
You know. Hey, people bring the children to that too.
They
But
do.
um hmm. I love sharing this story because yeah, I tell it all the time and everyone is familiar with this plant. So, I was living in Burbank. Oh, I love Burbank, California. Shout out. It's one of my favorite places. But anyways, I decided that I wanted to make a dandelion tincture with everything. Everything, okay? So I literally grew a dandelion from seed. And I put it in a little pot and I had this little
Oh.
greenhouse. And so yeah, I grew this big ass dandelion and Asia was laughing at me. Like she was almost coming for me. Like she was like, this is one of the most ridiculous things you'd ever done, kind of thing. And I was like, I want the medicine. Like I want the things. And so yeah, I grew her, I nurtured her, And oh yeah, dandelion taraxacum officinale. And officinale means that it's a medicine that was classified since the 1700s, period. Okay, just saying. But anyways,
Dang.
so just saying.
Wait, so you said it was in like a little greenhouse
Yeah, it
thing?
was in a little pot that I got from my grandpa's house, all crying. Yeah, it was in this little pot, and then I put in a greenhouse so that I could grow it big and I could just control the environment and whatnot. Because I wanted the things, I wanted the medicine, I wanted the good. And yeah, it is ridiculous to grow a plant from seed or that is a plant that people literally spend so much money and time trying to rid from their lawns. But dandelion is big medicine. And I've always looked for things that support my digestion, because growing up as a little kid, I always had tummy issues. And so, you know, I I wanted a prebiotic, as they call it. I wanted that inulin magic. I wanted the magic from the leaves. I wanted the magic from the flower. I just wanted all of the magic. And so yeah, I made a really powerful dandelion tincture, which I think I just finished, to be honest. I think I made it in 2020.
Wow.
2019, 2020, around there. And so it's 2025. So yeah, it was powerful medicine, is powerful medicine. And it was also cool. It's really great being an herbalist with your best friend, because you get to have conversations about so many things. And so Asia was telling me that when your thoughts are feeling ungrounded and scattered, dandelion is a great support system. And so, yeah, anytime I feel nuts, I go back to Dandy, so I can come back to myself. So yeah, I just love telling that story, because not only do I love Dandelion for myself, but she's super accessible to any and everybody. Everyone knows what a dandelion looks like. Everyone knows where to find a dandelion. And so yeah, it's a great introduction also into the Asteraceae family. So you're like, oh my gosh, it's in the same family as chamomile, like, and you just go in daisies, and you can just start moving from there. So yeah, anytime I'm talking to someone who's interested in herbalism, I'm like, find a plant that you love or that's easy, that's accessible to you, and start learning just the little things about it. How do you feel around it? What kind of medicine does it make? What family is it in? And then from there you can branch out. So be an expert on one plant first. So yeah, that's what I got for y'all.
That's so funny you mentioned dandelion, because I've been thinking about dandelion and burdock, because I feel a little obsessive about, like, I need to make sure that I have burdock. You're saying, like, you don't get ready, you stay ready, and
Hello.
yes, and I need to get my burdock tincture, so I'm not ready. But while I'm thinking about burdock, I'm thinking about dandelion, and that's exactly what I need. I want to work with a plant to when my thoughts get scattered. I like how you're saying coming back to yourself, because sometimes I do be feeling, especially during my period, I just feel sort of, you
Mm,
know, really ungrounded, and my thoughts are everywhere. But I'm also like, where there's a will, there's a way. You you wanted to grow dandelion, and you grew dandelion.
I sure did.
Yep, where there's a will, there's a way.
Much
And
to the chagrin of the haters that are on this call.
Not chagrin. I be wrong. So I be wrong. And that was I love wild things, wild crafting. But honestly, that tincture was the sweetest, most delicious dandelion tincture I've ever tasted. And it was delightful. And yeah, Karina stunted on us all.
I sure did.
Yeah.
Because not everyone sometimes you live in an apartment. And so, like, you ain't got your little backyard where you can do the things. So I had to do what I had to do. I got my little greenhouse. I started growing all the things that I had my lemon balm. Oh my gosh, I had onions, I had tomatoes, and it was so cool because for the first time I saw the onion blossom. And I was like,
Wow.
wow, it has flowers and it's a circle, it's a sphere. Like I was just doing my big one. So, if y'all don't have access to a backyard, like get a grow box, get a little greenhouse. Yeah, just get a pot and some water. Like, uh, try to grow that seed. I'm just saying. Look, or pay attention to the seasons also, because it might
I
not
hear
grow
that.
just yet, but wait just a little bit, okay, to the right season, and then it'll sprout.
I hear that. You would grow some kitchen herbs or something.
Period.
Um, yes. Um, well, so I have like two more questions. I actually have more questions, but I'm looking at the I'm
Part
looking at
two.
the looking at the clock. That's right, part two. There's so many guests where we're like part two, part two. Um, so I just have, let me see something really quick. So I'm gonna do two more questions. The last question is gonna be, yeah. I just want to know, like, who besides y'all being ride or dies, if y'all would say that about each other, who are the ride or die plants? You got any ride or die, like?
Hmm. Okay. So, Asia just mentioned how she was wrong, and so I can mention how I was wrong, or not necessarily that I was wrong, but more like I just needed time. Ginger is my ride or die.
That's my
Mm.
ride or
Hello.
die.
Mhm.
Hello.
Mhm.
If you are Black American, ginger ale was, second only to Tylenol, like,
Okay.
it was given to us as medicine. And even though I like the flavor of ginger, the strength was way too much for me. And so I avoided it for a long time. But, in 2022, when I started developing petty chai, I was using or I'm sorry, I was using ginger all day, every day, like literally every day. I was engaging with ginger. And I think it was during that time I discovered that. So I have a sensitivity towards garlic. Like, if there's garlic, like, there can be like tiny, tiny bit of garlic, but if it just like goes over by like 0.01 milligram, like I know, and it really affects my digestion. And so I discovered during that time that if I put ginger, or if I eat ginger at the same time that I eat garlic, I'll be fine. Like, I'm telling you, it's a
Whoa,
hundred percent
that's
it works. Yeah. So I've, really built a beautiful relationship with ginger. I never go without ginger. I always have it on me. I keep that thing on me all the time. And I've learned to enjoy the strength, even though still sometimes it'll get me. I was at a sushi restaurant last Thursday, and I was like, "Oh, let me try the little ginger." And I was like, it was still really strong, but I had to do what I had to do because they had the like garlic spicy tuna rolls, and I love a spicy tuna roll. So I said, I gotta do what I gotta do. So shout out to Ginger for supporting me in such
shout out to Ginger.
lovely, beautiful ways. Yeah. And I've made um different balms and sprays for my knees because my knees begin inflamed these days. Well, actually, they've always, so it's hard out here. But yeah, ginger has also aided in anti or it's lent its anti-inflammatory properties to me. And so yeah, and ginger is good for your brain. Like, ginger is so She's many a thing. She, he, they. I feel like Ginger's a they. Don't you think? Yeah,
Spicy.
they are
Yeah,
just, they've been so supportive of me. So, yeah, I had to change my tune a
spicy.
little bit. And yeah, Ginger is my ride or die.
Mm.
Love that.
Mm. I mean, that question is unfair. It's like, who do you like best, your mother or your wife? You know, like it's just,
True.
you know,
It's hard.
I guess well, everyone knows how much I love Hawthorne. I'm teaching about Hawthorne tomorrow. Um and we could go in. But I'm gonna say yellow dock. Um Yellow dock for me is wow, like hmm. When I'm working with yellow dock, I get to be the person that I know that I am.
Mm.
I work with yellow dock every morning. It's the first flavor that I taste. It's right by my bedside. I'm looking at it right now. And it's sort of bitter alkaloids not only help to stimulate peristalsis in the large intestines, but they deal with that part of me that is brittle. And it deals with the part of me that experiences disorder and chaos and the spinning that
Mm.
happens when I'm not grounded. I just start twirling and just um, become a storm.
Mm.
And yellow dock is my Ogun, right? Yellow dock is my like the kind of metal I want to be, right? I'm
Mm.
not rusty when I'm with yellow dock. Like I'm shiny, sharp, right?
Mhm.
Mm.
And so yeah, like yellow dock really supports sort of my large intestines, the lung large intestines official. And when I work with this root, um, my whole everything in my environment becomes neat and orderly. And so I can tell when I haven't worked with yellow duck because everything's a mess again. But for whatever reason, it just gives you that extra will, and also it helps to unlock the stored iron, so it keeps me away from anemia and ashiness. Which, if you know me, you know that's the devil. Um, and so, yeah, just like working with my bitter roots every single morning. And especially because sometimes I'll be switching it up, I'll be like, it's a burdock day, or I need dandy. I really need to call in dandy. But 8 times out of 10, I'm calling on yellow dock. And yeah, I'm just grateful for the light out of the chaos of my world that yellow dot creates for me.
Mm.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
Snap, 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 snap.
Rumix
I'm
crispus
like,
is yellow
Mm.
dog's name.
hey, yellow dog.
Oh, Ginger is Zingiberaceae or Zingiberaceae officinale, I think.
Hmm.
Zingiber some Zingiber something. It's in the Zingiberaceae family. There we go.
Wow.
It got the officinale, so it's official.
It's official.
Yeah, just say it.
It's official.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was nice to know like a ride or die plant. I hear you, Asia. It's hard to choose. Maybe there you got a couple of ride or dies, but it was nice
Mm.
to hear the plant where you're like, no, we gotta roll for life. I don't know.
Period. For life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I think yeah, ginger and yeah, ginger. I would say ginger, but then it's between ginger and nettles. But I think I initially say ginger. But okay, so I would love to do a part two whenever that happens. I'm gonna ask
Yeah.
one more question, and then we could end with any last thoughts in your heart, but this, yeah, it's like we right in the middle. But it's okay we can end in the middle and come back.
That's
Um,
right.
yes, maybe the middle is the beginning. In the next part two.
Yes.
So I think what was eye-opening for me, when I started like deepening, um, into uh what you both have been sharing, and it's a whole story actually how I learned about Asia's work through someone who I knew in New York City. And so that's how I
Mm.
um got to meet you, Karina, because I learned about Asia's works. It's like a whole long story.
Mhm.
I so there's that whole trajectory, but something that was kind of shocking to me was to learn that I could address ailments and liberation from my body first. Like that was shocking to me. And I know
Mm.
probably for like seasoned herbalists or, healing practitioners, doctors, that wouldn't be new information, but for me, I didn't know that I could address my fears or my anger directly by working with my kidneys or my
Mm.
liver. I thought like it was all mental,
Mm.
you
Mm.
know? So I would love for this last question. There's actually I have lots of questions. We could just do it the next time. But cuz it was like this deepening and deepening into the ocean. Um I would love to hear more of your perspectives on the body and embodied liberation, like whatever you want to share.
Mm.
Because I think I attribute this to like how I was raised, that I and I don't want if anyone's listening to this, I don't want people to feel like they're wrong, or I'm just talking from my own experience that like I was raised to kind of think outside of myself in a very disembodied way. Um, so and to process things and heal things like mentally, like if I just XYZ, am I freezing?
No,
But
you're
when
good.
but when you're saying, because when I took that winter herbal immersion course, and when when I'm learning that I can address my fears by working with my kidneys and work, I was like, what? And I don't know. I'm really interested. that really just threw me. And then also, Asia, I hear you on your Instagram. You post a lot about the body being like God. You say something about like an organ regenerating is like that's God, and it's a whole other orientation for me. And I don't know. I'd love to hear from both of you your thoughts on the body and embodied liberation. Ah, I'm so wordy.
Yeah. Well, what a thesis.
Yeah, okay, can I say could this be for part 2? Because I feel like this is really long and in depth,
I know.
and I would
Darn.
like to put a lot more time into it, seeing as how we're heading to we've
I know we're past.
passed our
Okay.
time.
Okay. So then we'll leave this for part two.
Yeah, but
Um,
I'm excited for this.
yes. Oh,
This was a preview, so we
Okay.
have
it
to
was a
do part 2.
preview.
Yeah.
And and then I'll ask this after we stop recording. Okay, so we're just gonna informally, any last thoughts on your heart that you want to share?
Um, I'm just really grateful for this experience. This has felt like a meditation for me. Um, yeah, this whole day has been about friendship. It's interesting. I had my Portuguese lesson today, and one of the questions was about like an experience from your childhood that you would like to relive. And for me, I was like, I'm thinking about high school. I'm thinking about being with my girls. I'm thinking of just experiencing like the little things with them and how it was everything. And then it was interesting. Calais called me today because she had a question, but then by the time I got back to her, she already answered her question, but we were catching up a little bit. So that was beautiful. And then now talking to Asia and now getting to do that with you, Simone, like it's just been wow, such a day full of love and friendship and um being with the girls. That sisterhood frequency is so important in my life. It's truly gotten me through every single thing. Yes, God is Black man to me, but love and warmth is sister, is Black womanhood, is sisterhood. So yeah, I'm experiencing all the things right now. So I'm just grateful for this experience. So thank you, Simone, for inviting us in.
Yes. Okay. Okay, bestie frequency.
You know,
Maybe we need a bestie marriage ceremony so we can pass through all the rituals. Okay.
you know,
um as I'm sitting here with my wife, dusting off this microphone.
please.
I cannot think of anything else more than the timeliness, Simone, of this invitation and what it means at this point in Karina and I's career and relationship. One of the grounding conversations we had when we were last together was the need to celebrate the ways that the wheel of fortune has turned, the way that my wife's life is better and beautiful, and me just thinking about you rock climbing again and your Portuguese lessons and your man and these other things. It just feels so qualitatively different than the last time that this mic was out. And so, Simone, I just want to thank you so much for showing up as, this this beacon, you know, kind of lighting the path forward for us. And I'm just sitting with my gratitude for you, for your love, for like all the ways you show up to all the things. And I just have loved like growing and moving with you, my mermaid sister. And so it's so good and so cool to be a part of this project too, Simone. Y'all know, if y'all are listening, that Simone is a water warrior, but she's
Hey.
also my mermaid sister. And
Oh.
so it's nice to be swimming in your waters. And so, yeah, the last thing that I'll say is I just wanted to leave the space with gratitude and very excited for part 2 because that conversation is
Woo.
you're getting to the
I
heart
can't
of the
wait for that.
things, okay?
Exactly.
Not the heart.
Yes.
But yeah, just like what a skillful interview and what a pleasure to be seen by you, Simone. I just want to leave with that pleasure and that delight of being the object of your attention.
That's so nice. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for the love.
Of course.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for the love. Yes, I'm grateful for you both. Like I said before, I have so much to say actually. So much love to pour out and share with you both. I'm glad that I even crossed paths. Because there's millions of people and also I don't know if you know, side note, I grew up in Aurora, Colorado until I was 12, and then I went to Denver and Colorado Springs. I feel like I don't know that Colorado crossover. But thank you so much for being interested in being on the podcast and sharing. I can't wait for part 2. I'm just taking everything in. It was so nice to see your faces and hear your voices. And yeah, just like endless gratitude. What I really wanted to say is I know life can be hard, but and it's whatever y'all want to do and how you feel. But for me, I'm like, I need y'all to keep doing what you're doing.
Oh.
I probably already said this already at some point, but it's like, life has its ups and downs, but yeah, I hope, yeah, it's like I'm a person where I actually benefit.
Mhm.
I'm a person who's actually, um learning, and life's changing. So anyway, thank you both for meeting me at the through line, and I'll see you on the flip side.
See you on the flip
See you on the flip
side.
side.